Welcome back, Noble Heroes. We rejoin our heroes once again as the Outrunner has been fixed by Juniper's wishes, and they get ready to head downstream. The crew and questers making their way once again towards adventure in Mirbin's tower, where they may find some answers that they seek. At this point, we're going to begin with the characters underway. The Outrunner is back, baby. And it's fully fixed. Dom does describe to Euphemia that Hotjack at first was very strange. He seemed frightened at first, Dom says. Then it was like he was overcompensating by trying to relax as hard as possible. And then that led to the little birds bothering him the most, since he would play with them. And then he was running off in the woods, not too far, we could still hear him, but frolicking, mostly. And then finally he was Uncle Popjack.
That's a strange turn of events, isn't it?
Honestly, it was the fastest changeover I've seen in quite a while. I think it was already in him. He says, a love for small things. He says, look out.
Oh.
He warns you. And then he is going to sort of lean in and whisper, Captain, I wanted your permission for something.
Ask it.
Tomorrow night, I was hoping that I could commandeer the upper deck for 30 minutes.
Oh? For?
I've noticed the tension between Triss and Juniper.
Yes.
I would like to conduct an exacting pendulum tea ceremony between the two of them to promote peaceful thinking. I feel I owe Juniper something for saving my life, and I think if I can calm Triss's nerves around her, it would benefit both of them greatly. What say you?
I think Juniper did us a great service by saving you. And I certainly would want to thank her as well. Do you really think this will help?
We can only try.
Well, technically, a couple of the girls and I had planned on discussing some sophisticated reading, but I suppose we could share the deck.
He nods.
What do you need for this?
Just space, he says. Potjack is fine if he is immovable. I don't think he'll want tea anyway, but as much privacy as possible.
Do you need the rest of us below deck?
I suppose I don't need all of you, but I would prefer a less crowded circumstance.
I can make it happen.
I thank you, Captain.
No. I'm glad to have you with us.
He nods. Master, I have concocted a new design.
You've come up with a new design? What for?
I've noticed that people are more afraid of the Phalor on the road. And now, with the new knowledge that he is Zio's deceased father, we may wish to hide him in certain circumstances. My thought is this, Master. He plasters down 2 pieces of paper that overlay each other to make a design. He says, "It is a backpack with a secret compartment at the bottom. large enough to store Phalor's bones, Master, so I can carry them in the backpack underneath normal everyday equipment, so nobody will suspect.
Isaac's, looking at the drawings intently and rubbing his chin and saying,
You see it's like a box with like another box underneath it.
And he stops and he looks Prongor dead in the eyes and he says, "Why did we not think of this sooner?"
He says, "Well, you spent so much time and effort making Thalor give him the ability to act normal, that we normally did not need to hide him. But being so close to other people, I figured that it would be beneficial."
So focused at hiding him in plain sight that I never thought to just hide him in a box.
Exactly.
How quickly do you think you can get this made?
With the leather that I brought along for other purposes, repurposed to this purpose, I think I can purposely get it out very quickly.
Isaac says, "Well, it's done then. Get on it."
"Yes, sir," he says. "Right away." Prompt. He heads off into the ship.
Isaac's still standing there looking at the drawings and he just goes, and he just rolls them up. How am I so stupid?
Roland, you turn around after your exercise, your shirt's still on, and see Jania. Can we talk?
Yeah, sure.
She's going to kind of like gesture you over towards the closest edge of the ship. Everything is very crowded nowadays, with Clevey and Walks running around, climbing up ropes. There's never any telling when a little bird is above your head. With Potjack taking up the center of the mast, the whole middle of the ship is a step-over area.
He'll follow her over.
So, Bali explained to me what your fate means.
Mm-hmm.
Can we start over?
What do you mean?
Look, I saw a picture of your girlfriend. She's really stunning. And I can see why you'd want to remain faithful to her. Also, I didn't understand. You can tell she's like really trying to like carefully choose her words, and she's really bad at it. How tough it was until I saw you underneath the Frog King, and I was hitting him with a hammer, and you and Shadow were leaping at him, and we were really like fighting together. And I was like, we're both warriors. Why am I trying to make it harder on him? So, I was hoping maybe we could restart.
Yeah. We didn't need to have this conversation. I was pretty content with letting all that go, but I appreciate you wanting to have the conversation.
Well, I was hoping maybe you might actually teach me how to use a sword.
Yeah, of course. We just need to have a third party.
So I thought that I was really good with a sword, but Dom tells me I'm really bad with it.
Sorry.
So maybe we'll start from the beginning?
Yeah, I've been meaning to train Hero too, so.
Also, Polly didn't want to ask, but she also wants to know how to use a long blade. She was wondering if she could train with us.
Yeah. We can start running drills in the morning before you guys have to start doing your work.
The next morning, when you wake up, you find Jania and Bali both ready to go for exercising. And then as you're going, you find a little Kenku, little walks no roads doing squats with you. Later on that day, Mama, I did wind sprints.
Good job. Keep it up.
I'm strong.
You are indeed.
Night Elf said so.
Well, you listen to everything he says. He's a very good trainer.
Juniper, Dom says, I was, hoping you might join me tonight for a bit of tea, perhaps a little after sundown.
Of course. I never say no to a cup.
I would like to make this one.
She nods.
I've tried all of your blends, but you haven't tried mine.
She actually has a small smile when he says he's tried all of her blends.
I was thinking that's why you were laughing.
I look forward to trying it then.
You turn around and see Prongor, somewhat looming over you. Captain Mythia.
Prongor.
I wish to ask your permission for something.
This is gonna be good, she says under her breath. For what?
Ma'am, I would like to make you dinner.
She visibly fails.
And I would like the use of your cabin to do so. He shifts a little awkwardly under your gaze.
She starts to, snort a little bit. Does Isaac know you're doing this?
He purses his lips. No. I have noticed a strain between the two of you. This dinner is for you endlessly, so that you may find common ground.
Oh.
And you will not throw him off the boat, since he cannot swim.
Ah, so he can't swim, she says. I was wondering about
You see him go, oh shit. He goes, he can levitate. With water.
Still, in some situations, that's a far way to levitate. However,
He's regretting this now, you know that, right?
I appreciate the effort it took for you to come and ask me this. You're welcome to use our galley and cook. I would prefer we have the dinner somewhere other than my cabin. It's very personal to me.
What about the brig?
Absolutely. I'll even bring some good stuff for us to drink, if you like.
That would be appreciated. I am not an excellent brewer.
Does he like port? She asks.
Whiskey.
Whiskey. I've got something.
He nods. He says, very well. Perhaps after sundown. I hear that we are all to be ensconced below deck.
This is correct. Prongor, are you really so worried that we'll throw him overboard? That I will, I should say.
Just a few days ago, Captain, a cantankerous monster attacked this ship and nearly sank it to the bottom of the river. You will need more in your relations than mere willingness to exist together. As much as I may not like it, his life may be in your hands.
I can't argue with that.
And in a very real sense, your ship was in his. You showed trust to my master that many do not think to do. You have reaped the reward of that trust, as I have. In this, we find ourselves kin. Master Isaac does not reveal his hand easily. I would see it rewarded when he does. That is my duty as a man of service.
Loves you so much.
I know.
She looks slightly moved by
Very
this.
sweet.
Oh.
He seems like he's trying to do good, she says. I understand what it is to be a flawed person doing something for a good cause. She nods. All right. I'll see you down there.
He nods. He turns to me.
Dude, my eyes have welled up so many times tonight.
Aww.
Straight up.
Master Isaac, I was thinking of making a delectable dinner for tonight in the brig when we are ensconced below due to Dawn's request.
Well, that sounds good enough to me.
The captain says that she has some excellent whiskey to share with us.
Is the captain going to be joining us?
She will. I have asked her.
You did what?
He says, Master Isaac, you stated, and I thought, after the revelation of our quest, that we were going to need relations with these people. The captain is in a position of power on the ship. We should have a relationship with her. And my food is the way to smooth that road.
What do I know of Brongor's cooking?
He is a great chef. It was what he was hired for originally, beyond hard labor.
Nice.
You're in
All right.
great.
Oh, yeah.
Looking out for me as always, Brongor, even when I'm not quite so privy to your ideas.
He says, I am full of ideas lately, Master. Perhaps it is the edge of danger that has brought them out to me.
What?
Surely. Now, what were you thinking of for a menu?
Well, he's gonna open up like a little container. Bird piranha eggs will make an excellent calamari, he says. And then he's going to look over. There is several eel piranhas that I have found in the lower waters, brought up in Potjack's algae. He says, I have gathered those together as well. We've gathered acorns from the forest, and I shall take some of Shadow's fresh bass, and I shall squeeze a lemon upon them, stir-fry everything together, and make a delectable dish of my own creation.
My mouth is watering.
Honestly, somehow sounds very good.
Brongor, you are quite resourceful on the road when it comes to finding ingredients. A majority of those aren't even found on this ship.
And Hero has offered blueberry pie for dessert.
Oh, well, I suppose that's just the cap on this whole fiasco. Can't think of a better way to end the night than that.
He nods. Juniper. You step up on the upper deck and find Dom sitting in a carefully crafted area of the forward deck. He has a small wooden table set up with a number of teas and teapots, and it smells quite exceptional once you get beyond Prongor. Once you get beyond Podjack.
Does June recognize the setup?
You recognize an ancient pendulum tea ceremony. And sitting across from Dom, kneeling on her large legs, is Triss. Ah, Juniper, please. You see Triss sort of stiffen a little bit.
June's eyes track between Triss and Dom, immediately realizes what he's doing, and graciously nods.
Now, Dom says, as he carefully scoots a teacup his way, and then is going to ceremonially pick up the pot and in a specific manner pours the tea out. This is a hot, steaming cup of green tea, he says. It has been mixed with the limestone of pendulum. Gives it a sweetened flavor. It will calm nerves, he says. And he is going to very carefully, with both hands, and...
Lightning bug. Just a lightning bug.
He's very carefully, with both hands, going to lift up the teacup and place it in front of Triss. And then he's going to pour a second cup for Jennifer.
When he hands it to her, she says the traditional dwarven response to getting it.
Triss is going to, vaguely mumble something close to that. She clearly doesn't speak Dwarven. And then Dom
she
is
will then
going
translate
to...
it into English when she clearly doesn't understand it. Or common, excuse me.
Triss is going to sip and then say, "What is this?" I spoke to you earlier today about working with the crew. I assume you thought I meant our crew. That is not the only crew anymore, Dom says. Jennifer is part of that crew. I do not wish to calm your nerves towards her, only to have you explain to her why you feel the way you do. Triss's eyes lift up from the teacup and she looks over across the way at Jennifer.
June is attempting to project comfort and calm.
Give me a charisma check.
You know what? This matters to me. Mother of gods, why?
Did you roll the same thing twice? Oh,
No, it's an 8. So, 11. Not great.
You see her look over towards you, and you see a little shake of her hands. The teacup slashes a little, but doesn't spill.
June's eyes do kind of dip down. I need to roll something for myself. Give me a second.
Alright.
She is attempting to hide her hurt, and she kind of fails.
Triss whispers something inaudible at first. Dom kind of leans in. It's the weather, she says.
She tilts her head.
Do you mean? Dom asks. You control the weather. You remember
Oh, she remembers exactly when.
that Bellwether is a town centered entirely around the sky.
Mm-hmm.
The day's catch, the boat industry, everything in Triss's life up till the point at which she was brought into the pirates, and probably well after, was centered on what the sky looked like. You can change it.
I see. And the people of your village, they rely on a steady weather pattern. What they see at the time is what's important. They make their plans around it, correct?
She nods.
I have been to Bellwether in the past.
Yeah?
Yes. It's a very beautiful village. I've even been out on their boats.
Juniper, Tom says, perhaps if you could explain the magic involved in such a process.
Jun's eyes twitch over to him for a moment. She goes, in as much as I can, yes. The thing is, godmothers aren't the only ones who can manipulate the weather. You know this, yes?
I know some storm wizards, pirates can do that.
There are storm sorcerers, storm wizards. A powerful enough wizard can manipulate the weather wherever they want.
Dom is going to... He seems to be trying to lend aid.
Shh.
Triss is also gravely nervous around such individuals. She once had an accident near Osaya the Storm Mage.
June quietly waits.
She folds her arms together, and then it looks like the tea is quite pleasing to her because she unfolds herself to take another sip. Why did you do it?
Do what, exactly?
Why did you change the weather?
Because the houses were on fire and those inside were dying.
Wait, that's why?
Yes. I was attempting to put out the fire in the most efficient method possible. I localized the storm directly over the city so that it would not expand outward, thus not cause any interruptions in the current weather patterns that would cause flooding or otherwise. Nor does it interfere with the weather patterns in the distance, which would cause droughts if I moved them.
Dom is going to look over towards Triss. Why? What did you think she caused the storm? Dom asks.
Yeah, June is genuinely curious right now, although she's trying to keep her expression calm.
I thought you did it to show me how powerful you were, because I didn't help you with the merfolk.
No. Honestly, the thought never crossed my mind. I had never cared what people thought about how powerful or how weak I was. Why should I? I have confidence in myself.
Roll an advantaged persuasion check, DC 18.
Thank God. 20.
You're going to see Triss's hands stop shaking a little.
In regards to the merfolk, you had every right to not do so. You are obviously uncomfortable in the situation. I am not your captain. I can't order you to do something, and I don't want to.
Almost as if talking to herself, she says, I thought it was a black mark. I thought that you were showing me that you were angry and that you had so much power.
June sighs and says, these black marks, unless you attack or directly interfere with the mission of a godmother, there's no such thing as a black mark.
She looks up, startled. There's not?
No.
There's not. Dom says, sort of looking over at you.
She just raises an eyebrow at Dom.
Yes. Of course there's not. Dom says.
These trinkets and whatnot that you keep gifting me are unnecessary. I don't require appeasement. I'm not a dragon. I'm a woman. Yes, I have power, but I'm still a person like any other.
Triss contemplates your words for almost a minute before she looks up. I'm sorry.
It's fine. You are not the first to respond in such a way. I admit I am out of practice in dealing with people in the wider world. As I am.
You sit across from each other for a few more moments before Dom holds up his tea and says, "Refill?"
Yes, please. Dom, would you mind if I alter the traditions of this particular ceremony a slight bit and offer a bit of something of my own?
He nods. Sagely.
She pats her box, it flies down and lands, and she opens it, and she pulls out a steaming, pastry thing. It's a dwarven treat from Garen. And she says, I believe this would be appropriate with this tea.
What is it?
Is
it bread or is it cake?
It is neither. It's a pastry.
So it's like
It's
big cheesecake?
No, it's flaky. Like a pastry. You know, it's like layers.
Okay.
It's got, probably, like, some sort of nuts. And I mean, it's clearly a urine-based treat.
After Dom cleans up, he's going to approach you. I think it went well, he says. Let's see how she reacts in the next few days.
I want to thank you for your consideration, Dom. That was very kind of you, and also very smart.
He says, I have not yet repaid my debt for saving my life.
Dom, there is no debt.
That's not how we see it in Pendulum.
Believe me, I know how things work in Pendulum.
Then you'll know that we are rather based in rules.
You mean stubborn like the rocks you live under?
I see no rocks over my head, he says. But he gives you a wink and says, better my bones.
Well, you are one of the most tolerant and fluid individuals of Pendulum that I have met recently.
It's all the water, he says, as he looks around. He
Clearly,
kind of
all of
gestures.
those of Pendulum should take up piracy.
So, how do you think Prongor's dinner is going? Speaking of which,
She says, I imagine it's quite delicious.
Prongor is going to, with careful stride, walk into one cage to place the food down, and then on a makeshift table in front of your cot, places the other. The food, the intake of which makes your mouth water with delicious scents. You will see that there is a little graze, a little garnish on the side of the plate, and you realize it is a carefully chopped leaf. Dinner is served, Prongor says. You have a fine sifter of whiskey from a bottle adjacent to you, and you have a cup of brandy.
She's already knocked back at least one or two.
What?
Prongor is going to
immediately.
carefully step out of the room and sort of like mostly shut the door.
Well, he talked you into doing this all on his own.
It was actually quite touching, she says.
What did he say to you?
He seems concerned about... Honestly, he seems concerned about making sure you all find a place here.
A place on this ship.
A place with this group.
Suppose I can see that. He hasn't shown any concern, but over the past couple of days I've let slip that I am more than a bit worried about our future here.
What exactly do you think would happen?
Nothing, most likely. But my mind can't help but wander and think about the possibilities. I'm not quite the same as the rest of you.
How so? I mean, she looks at him. I mean, other than that.
You all may be pirates, but by all accounts, I am considered in most people's eyes a hard criminal. I was brought here by the prophecy, but if it weren't for that, I think you would have turned me in for a bounty a long time ago.
Well, it depends entirely on how much that bounty was worth.
Enough to make your mouth water more than this meal.
He does seem like a gifted cook.
Excellent, as always. I don't think he's ever cooked me a bad meal.
Take your first bite, and indeed it is delicious. Really, quite a wonder he was able to create such a masterpiece with what he had.
Should put him to work in a gallon.
I guess if anything, his cooking will keep us aboard this ship for now.
She laughs.
Tell me, do any of your crew cook as a hobby?
As a hobby?
Yes. I know for Prongor it's a bit of, it's cathartic. It's relaxing for him to put these things together.
I don't think any of us feel that way. It's just another chore.
I see. Well, I wonder how we'd feel about cooking for everybody.
Are you trying to find him a place on my crew?
At least him, if not myself.
She leans forward. So what changed?
What do you mean?
I think you know what I mean.
Well?
If you were something so dark and horrible, why do you seem like you stepped towards the light?
You are just cutting straight to the heart of the issue, aren't you?
I hate games. I find them boring.
Then you would hate Selenox.
Oh, I imagine so. I've never really had a good experience there, to be honest.
Well, let me tell you now that that city is nothing but a slaughterhouse, a small pen filled with nothing but cows and wolves, all playing games. Nobody is direct. So this is very refreshing for me.
Well, she raises a glass. I do try.
But to answer your question, I met Cassian.
The angel's the one who changed you.
He's the one who, well, I thought I wanted to change and spent quite a bit of time on the road floundering, not quite sure what to do with myself. And he's the one who set me in the right direction. I didn't know what being good was until I met him. But he taught me. And as evidenced by him returning to heaven, I think any of us have a chance of redeeming ourselves.
Good doesn't always pay well, you know.
I've learned that. Prongor has learned that. I think he's had a harder time taking to it than I did. We gave up a very lavish lifestyle.
I kind of got that feeling.
And I'm lucky he decided to stick with me. Because he did not have any qualms about what we were doing back then. And to be asked suddenly to give all that up. In the name of what? Being selfless? It's a foreign concept to someone like him.
It sounds like it was to you too for a long time.
In some ways it still is. Some of my days on this ship are spent just trying to emulate what I think I'm supposed to be. I'm starting to lose my appetite. This is all awfully heavy. And then Isaac will down whatever's in his cup and get more.
Refill, she offers.
Yes, please. But does that answer your question?
It's good enough.
You guys, from the crack of the doorway, you see Prongor's shadow. Goes.
What's he gesturing at?
He seems to be suggesting that you guys take glasses.
Does he think she poisoned it?
No, he's saying make a toast or something.
Very funny.
It would have made sense the other way, too.
Yeah.
Isaac picks up his glass and says, "To new beginnings."
She looks at him like, what are you doing?
I don't know. I usually have a plan for these sorts of things, but in this case, Prongor made plans for me, so...
A plan for these sorts of things, she asks. Do you mean you plan out every interaction that you have?
You don't?
No, but perhaps I plan out every important dinner I'm going to have. Usually there's something to get out of them. Having dinner with someone just for the sake of it is not something I am particularly used to.
Well, it sounds like you're in need of some guidance with social interactions. At least the ones that are genuine and real.
You could say that.
Do you accept his offer?
She raises it. To making up for things that we've done. She clicks.
The ship sails on. Hero is going to walk up towards Roland. Hey,
What's up, man?
how you doing?
A little tired.
So, I saw Johnny and Bali have joined you for morning exercise.
Yeah, you want to join too?
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, but you were sleeping this morning.
So, I guess you're the exercise captain then.
I guess I'm going to teach you how to swing a sword too, though. So if you want to learn how to, I don't know,
You any good with staves?
say I'm okay with my lance. So it's kind of the same deal. A little light,
He shakes his head. It's not the same.
a little heavier.
He says, you can't even wield a lance right without being mounted.
Oh, I can wield it two-handed.
He nods. I'm glad that you and Bali are doing something.
Yeah, she's cool. I'm glad we're all doing stuff together. I think the tea thing's a good idea. Triss needs to chill out. That girl's so strong. So high strung, she looks like she's gonna snap.
Hey, what did Potjack say? A few days ago, you came away really embarrassed.
Oh, man. Oh, he told a a very adult story, man.
Oh.
Well, I'm an adult.
Yeah, but he told me a story that I didn't want to know. So I, in good conscience, can't pass that on to anyone. If anyone asked me what he told me, I wouldn't tell them. Because the first thing they would say is, I didn't want to know that. Because I didn't.
He smiles
I know
the best he can.
I know how you guys age. I know you're near halfway grown. It's just, I thought of your dad like a little brother. And we got separated when I started training. And now we're hanging out and you're so much.
He swallows heavily.
You're so much like him, man. It feels like it still feels it.
He climbs up into the cot next to you. You guys are fairly close to one another. He looks up into your face. I'm glad you didn't see him at the end.
What was that?
Pain fills his eyes. It's not very common. It's a meat disease. About a year before he died. It's called mind haze. he forgot everyone.
I'm so sorry. It happens to humans and elves too. There's something like it.
But you want to know what he did remember?
What?
Who that person on the poster was. He said, that guy's a hero. That's Roland of Kieran. He didn't remember that he knew you. But he knew who you were.
He was a really good guy.
He's going to place his hand on your leg. I hope you remember it. When you start to question. He believed.
Thanks, hero.
He smiles.
Can't wake up early tomorrow, okay? We start at 6.
That's my normal wake up time.
Yeah, well, you gotta get up earlier than that.
I think I better turn it then.
No, man.
You have a choice. You can stop the boat about a day's travel from where you were, and then take streams north, using the small boats like you did to Journey to Drum. And that way, you'll drop Potjack off near, like, a few days near the edge of the forest, and he'll head towards Bridgewalk, he says. Or you can travel all the way down to the outcropping, an extra day and a half, to where you break out into the lake surrounding the We Remember Monument. And then you can sail upwards to where the forest and the monument connect, and then take a little path. That will cost you an extra half day. So it's either 1 day or 2 days journey. One will take Potjack closer, the one that's longer, and you'll come out into a lake with no chance of running into any dangers. But it costs time.
Have I gotten any updates on Bridgewalk? Is it
You
still under curfew?
It is, yes.
You
And
got
it appears as
interrupted
though
when you started telling us about it, too.
there's signs that Pitt has not yet left. Or at least is returning.
Okay, June actually is going to approach Potjack because she feels that she should at least warn him. Potjack, might I have a word?
Aye. Sure.
You said you were heading to Bridgewalk, correct?
Yeah.
I should warn you, Bridgewalk is currently under curfew, and they're on lockdown.
How do you know that?
I've received messages.
I didn't see the little messenger.
I don't necessarily need a messenger.
Magical messenger.
She just nods.
He knows things.
She goes, it is believed that Pitt is in the city.
Pitt?
Yes.
Who?
A s-
Oh! That sorcerer guy.
Yes.
I heard he was, pretty bad.
Yes,
He's that one that does all the mind control, right?
that's correct.
What's he doing in Bridgewalk? Do you know?
Unfortunately, no, I do not.
He's gonna, like, lean in conspiratorially. Do the godmothers know?
She goes, we know many things, Potjack.
Gotta tell me one of them?
I already did, didn't I?
I gotcha, he whispers.
Suffice it to say, I suggest you be careful whilst there. I know you are who you are, but you have done well by this crew and this ship.
Oh, thank
So-
you.
You deserve the warning.
He's gonna, like, side knuckle you, and he kind of pushes you back a
She
little bit.
stumbles slightly to the side.
He goes, well, I got to go to Bridgewalk because it's the closest one, but maybe I don't stay very long, he says. Thank you for the warning, but I got to ask you a question now.
She raises an eyebrow, expecting something very bizarre.
So I know how these prophecies work, he says. The good guys show up to kill the dragon, and then the bad guys, they enter the cave and beat them up. So...
Yes, June just kind of looks at him and just
Give me a
lets him
second.
continue.
Look.
He goes, but it's a little bit convenient all the timing, you see. Both of us showing up at the same place at the same time, that's prophecy stuff. So, he was on a prophecy, ain't you? And if he's on a prophecy leading us to get Jossie, then he's on a prophecy mission about this whole fate breaking thing. Why has I figured it out?
It's
That's
not
why
a secret.
you there, being gone.
It is not a secret. Currently, every single kingdom in the world knows about it.
Well, damn it, I didn't know about it. Why didn't you tell me nothing?
Well, you're quite smart. You figured it out on your own.
He crosses his arms. So what's the prophecy then? You trying to fix it or you trying to break it?
Fix it.
Well, why didn't you say that before? He says.
Considering you came with the people who usually try to break things, I was a little concerned, Potjack.
I told you about the math problem, he says. I thought you understood.
She just sighs.
Well, look, if you was trying to fix fate, that little Meek was right. I benefit from fate, eh?
You do, in fact.
So, I wants to help.
Shoot, hang on.
Heck yeah. That's what I want to hear.
You know what? I managed to hide my surprise. She actually pauses and then goes,
I do quests dirt cheap, as long as they're relevant to this problem.
That's extremely good to know, Potjack, and I will definitely keep that in mind.
But I got to be in the know.
Yes.
And maybe, as a godmother, you might give me some heads up and get me some work elsewhere.
You know, I can do that for you.
He says, that's what I like to hear. What you have in mind?
She actually pauses and she thinks about the current log that she knows is going on because she's been keeping up with that. Do we have any good quests to send him on? That have
You're
to do
sure
with
that
us?
if you get in contact with that on the list, she's got 1,000.
She goes, I don't know at this exact moment, but if you'll give me a moment of time, I can find out.
Well, here, let me say this. I'll head down to Bridgewalk. I've got to make contact with somebody there, and you send me mail.
I shall do so.
It's a deal, he says.
June looks pleased. This is not something she expected, and she's happy.
So, the short route or the long route? Well, the 1-day route or the 2-day route with no danger.
Which one has no danger? The
The
2-day?
2-day route.
2-day route, and it drops off Podjack a little closer. To
Is that the one that drops him off closer?
Yes, correct.
That's probably the one.
I
that should-
vote for the 2-day.
Yeah.
I would say so too.
All right.
I would say so too, just because he actually kind of earned it.
Dude came through.
Yeah, he earned his place.
He took care of the little babies.
Yeah.
I am going to, once the crew is assembled for something, she's going to bring up what's going on at Bridgewalk. So, are we together at any point?
Yes. Do you share it?
I'm planning to. The only reason I'm
bringing it up as an RP bit is because of him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She goes, I was attempting to tell you all before, but it never quite happened. I have received word about Bridgewalk. The reason I suggested we not go there ourselves is currently it is under curfew. It is believed that the Sorcerer Pit is currently involved there, and the Winter Child is dealing with it.
What happened?
It is believed that he mind-controlled a fair amount of the city guards to stage a rebellion of sorts. They then robbed a bank and stole all the contents, making them disappear, and there's still signs of him being present. Currently they are on lockdown.
All of you would be aware of the story. The previous king of Garen, King Coldmane, was killed at Roland's hands when he was mind-controlled by the wizard Pit.
That's the reason you all notice that June is talking directly to Roland, even though she's telling the whole group.
The dude certainly has an MO.
That he does.
Not telling what he wants. I mean, probably just destabilize Bridgewalk the same way he did Garen.
It's a possibility, yes.
But, I mean, no. Gotta end that train of thought. What's up?
She nods at you. Clearly she's saying, we can't get involved at this moment.
You all come out into a grand lake. Those of you who have not been to this side of the continent are impressed by a massive monument. It is a sword, about as high as a mountain, carved of stone, longer and thicker than the Outrunner. And it stabs into a great hand that creates an island, the hand of a devil, to recognize an ancient war that the angels were victorious over the first devils. The monument is called We Remember, and there is a statue of each archangel about its base. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for dropping me off so close. Pongor says, or Podjack says as he gets off the ship.
Bye, Prongor!
Podjack says as he gets off the ship. He says, I'll be seeing you soon, hopefully, maybe, sometime in the future. He's gonna, get on the shoreline, and everyone is like, oh! They kind of back away from him, terrified. You see a number of regular tourists around the area. He's gonna get on the shoreline. He kind of looks around, gives a great sigh, and then... and he leaps off the ground, cracking the concrete, as he jumps over the nearby trees and into the horizon.
Captain, would you mind if we go ashore for a brief moment?
No, we can do that.
Thank you.
What does June do?
June goes to the place where offerings are put, and she puts one there. She seems somber.
You add one more to a great leftover pile of gifts. You steer the ship, cutting through crystal blue waters near the far sea. You head to the tip-top northern part of the lake, and then have a half a day's walk on a dusty road. Once you took this road, Isaac, you're fairly near the canyon where you first met Cassie. You head towards Alistair's Keep, otherwise known as Mirvin's Tower in this day and age. Roland, you know that Alistair's Keep used to belong to Torgath the White, the prior steward of Garen before Harper was the one that has a monument in the graveyard. As you all make your way, you will see significantly less tourists as you travel, and less bother to your party because Roland is with you. I need to know what equipment you all take, if any, specifically your constructs.
So we're going the rest of the way on foot?
Yes.
Okay. Ask Prongor if he has the box ready for Phalor.
He does not, but you do have fins put on the Oaken Bolter now.
Oh, nice. Okay. It's a shame we're about to travel on land. I will take... Hold on.
It's either the Winged Thrall or the Bronze Scout for CR1.
I'm taking Phalor and the Winged Thrall.
Okay.
Because I think I can only animate 2 at once right now, so...
Alright. Phalor is also traveling with the group. Do you take any of the crew, or do they maintain the Outrunner?
She would probably discuss with June in terms of making sure that the shard of the crown is safe.
June is going to put safeguards up, like spells, and probably use a few wishes to do it, to try to hide its
How many wishes would
signature.
you like to spend?
How many should I to keep it?
Well, it's fairly secretive at the moment. Only one Elven Kingdom and maybe the Kings of Gyr.
I want to make sure it can't be scryed.
So 3.
Sure, she'll spend 3.
Right.
She does suggest, and she's going to tell this to the whole group, that the only people who come are Euphemia, Isaac, Julian, Hero, and June.
Roll. Said Julian.
That's darn it, wrong game. My bad.
It's been a while too.
I don't know why. It's actually the second time tonight I've done that. Yes,
only the
she
fated
suggests that
questers?
only the fated questers go.
Yeah.
Okay.
As she goes, it's not, and she looks directly at Prongor when she says this because she knows that he's the one who will be the most upset about this particular thing.
Mhm.
She says, it's not we didn't trust you or that you can't do it, but Mirban is incredibly particular about who he allows in his tower. And the more people stay behind to guard the ship and the stone, the better.
All right, so we're agreed.
You all wave goodbye as you leave the crew of Prongor. Back on the ship. Bali is trying to figure out how to keep the birds in check. As
That Uncle Patrick.
I know. June actually will ask you to please assign them specific exercises that they need to perform so that they can, try to have some sort of regiment and like maybe they'll keep to it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since they seem to be doing it lately.
Yeah,
So.
I say, but at this point, Johnny and Bali they know.
Okay.
an exercise routine.
Yeah, they know the whole routine.
Good.
And then they can spar with each other.
Your journey to Mirban's tower is short. But when you arrive, you see before you a great alabaster tower rising high into the air. This setup does not depict the plateau that the tower is on, which is very tall. The height makes it almost impossible to climb up onto, and there appears to be no way to reach it. However, mysteriously, there is a very short stairwell on the backside of the cliff that does not reach the top. It just kind of ends in the middle of the cliff. Incomplete. All of Juniper and Isaac, both of you know that you are to go up on the stair, and if Mirban accepts you, he will cause more stairs to appear, so that you may enter the tower. There is no other way to contact Mirban by his own design.
So how do we get up, she asks.
He has to let us up.
Oh,
Is there a way to knock?
You know that stepping upon the stairwell is effectively a doorbell.
We walk as high as we can.
lead on.
June sighs and does so.
You all head up onto the short stairwell, which leads you to the edge of the very sheer cliff that actually bows out as it gets higher, making it even more impossible to climb. You have heard that there are dangerous wards to those who would think to foolishly fly or levitate onto his platform. Any magic is shut down about 20 feet before you reach the edge, making you fall to your death.
See why June doesn't like him.
The tower stands monolithic and unanswering for perhaps 15 minutes.
Yeah, June is very patiently just standing there, her hands in front of her, and waits.
Roland sits down.
Yuffie just keeps looking around like, is anything gonna happen?
The field around you is grandly unspectacular. There is tall grasses, but a cut makes a little nice path that flows out to the main road, which is basically untraveled. You imagine that at this point, very few make a pilgrimage here. Finally, after the 15 minutes has passed, you will see suddenly an illusory lizard appear in the air adjacent to the steps, perhaps 5 feet out from them. You will see Mirbin the Wise in a tall wizard's hat with stars upon it.
Mirbin the jerk face.
A grand gray beard and hair, and a long flowing robe also covered with stars. He seems to be reaching up to somewhere and then is going to turn towards you. "You're still out there," he says.
Indeed. Greetings, Mirbin.
"Juniper," he says. "Greetings. What are you here for?"
We need your help.
He says, "My help?"
And that of Tathandri.
He seems to weigh whether or not it's worth interrupting his day, and then is going to rather easily, very well, he waves his hand, and suddenly the staircase is going to pull away from the wall, revealing additional stairs all the way up to the top. The whole thing makes a monumental quake in the ground and shakes very lightly. And then it's going to soar perhaps 50 yards up in the air on no banisters all the way up. As soon as your feet step onto the plateau, the stairs are going to and shoot back into the wall to where you can no longer access them.
I have to ask you a question out of game.
Sure.
Did you mean to call her Juniper?
Does he have another name for you?
He doesn't know her as Juniper. He's never seen this person.
Oh. Then he would have said, "A godmother."
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot about that.
Sorry, and I just got super suspicious all of a sudden.
It's like, wait a second. Slow down.
Right.
Sorry, I get paranoid real easy, so just making sure it was uncalled for.
Oh, he would have also kind of looked over the group, and he stops his eyes on Roland and seems to, lean in. And you see sort of a little dancing light in his eyes. Maybe something playful. Then he's going to say, "Come in, come in." You stand on the top of the plateau of Alistair's Keep, with only the tower in front of you and its grand door. As you step up on the stairwell, it is rather empty in every direction. The plateau looks out over fields and in the distance the enchanted forest, but you couldn't waylay this tower with 1,000 men. As you raise your hand to knock, the door is just going to magically parts before you.
Should poke the door.
Which one?
One's
This
at
one?
the bottom.
This one's already open.
Okay, well, it's open now. Jeez. Because it magically
Does it
opened,
magically
clearly.
open?
Do you walk in?
Why does it
Yes.
As you step into Alistair's Keep, you are going to see a grand entryway. There are balconies with several portraits of other wizards and many of Mirben himself. And one of his son, Melon, who is a young blonde boy of about 12. But that could have been taken maybe a little while ago. Or painted.
Take this painting for me.
You do not see Mirben as you head in, but you do see glowing magical runes. Juniper, you are well aware that if anyone were to enter this place uninvited, these words would go off, and, according to Mirben, make a farm of cattle.
Of course. Pleasant.
As you all enter, and are perhaps 15 feet in, you're going to see the door lightly close behind you,
I'm sorry.
leaving
Your
the
face is
sun at the
fantastic.
door. As soon as the door opens, the wards on the walls light up. Each one of you is hit with 24 casts of polymorph. Roll 24 saving throws.
If you fail even one, it.
Correct.
All right.
24 saving throws?
20.
DC 17.
For what?
Polymorph, I believe, is
Wisdom. Sorry.
wisdom saving throw.
Yeah, I was like, what? That sounds
Say
awful.
DC 17?
Correct.
Oh, this will be fun.
Yeah.
DC 17.
I failed.
I'm done.
I failed. Passed one of them.
I failed on the first one.
Yeah.
You need a dice.
You fail?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think statistically that's almost impossible to succeed.
It is
no matter-
statistically almost impossible. Correct.
What would you done if somehow you managed to actually do it? Isn't that?
I would just give you this one. You win.
Yeah, the game's over. You can leave now.
Yeah, you win.
You can leave now. The game's
Thank
over.
you.
You win. You win, D&D. Go.
Fate healed. Everything's over. Go home.
As you all
You're cool.
are polymorphed between cats, slugs, small snails, and other helpless, rather useless creatures in a acrobatic and athletic sense.
Can I be a bunny?
At one point,
Awesome.
you wind up on a mixture of Isaac. You are a rather curmudgeonly badger at the moment, with a heart of metal. Your gemstone's still there. Euphemia, you are a weasel.
Oh.
Roland, you are a small puppy dog.
Nice.
And
Appropriate.
Juniper, you are polymorphed into a snail.
Of course, I can't be a bunny. What's hero?
Hero is polymorphed into He's polymorphed into like a little songbird.
You know what? My shell is probably fabulous, though. I'm okay.
Or no, he's polymorphed into a turtle. As soon as all of you are polymorphed into creatures with garbage saving throws, the actual spell that he intended to cast is cast upon your garbage saving throws. Which you can no longer succeed because you are polymorphed. As the spell hits you all, your vision goes black. Femia, you wake up. You feel very strange. Stranger than you've ever felt in your whole life, in fact. everything around you is weird. You're in a cage. It's dark, kind of dim, and you notice you don't have, your vision seems odd. You blink and you feel thick eyes, like thick lenses. And then you look at your hand. It's a flipper. May I introduce Ragdoll Euphemia? Yeah, please.
What have you done?
Please.
Are these cages here?
Not quite.
You are in this one, please.
Oh, stop.
Sorry, that's reception bad.
Please place each one of these cages on the other empty blocks. Your cages are made out of popsicle sticks.
Oh my
In effect, plywood.
They're really, really cool.
These
Oh,
are
mine's so
amazing.
tiny.
Yours is so small.
Isaac, you wake up, feel very strange. May I introduce Marionette Isaac?
Oh, that's incredible.
I like the pose you gave him.
That is very good. Oh my god.
As you look around, adjacent to you, you see Toy Soldier Roland.
Ah.
You stick on this one.
I think I have to poke his lance through.
I
the
know.
cage. There you go, perfect.
Ooh, nice.
Roland, across the way, you see a looming huge figure in one of the other cages. As you squint, it's a teddy bear. You see giant teddy bear hero.
Oh my god. These are incredible.
And finally, a noise, Isaac, draws your attention to the other cage. It sounds like porcelain. You see porcelain doll Juniper.
Oh.
They're like McDonald's toy Barbie.
Yes, it is.
I
It is
knew it!
from the original line.
That's
Oh,
so
wow.
cool. You want me to turn her?
No, she's fine.
Okay.
Is she giant?
No, she's not that big.
The only one that is larger than the rest is
Is Hero.
Hero. Euphemia, you are smaller than the rest.
Yeah, figures.
As each one of you look around at the plywood cages that would barely hold a normal creature, Euphemia, you reach out with your... So you have... Your four fingers are connected, and you have a thumb. And then you look, and you have... Let me give you your new, powerful stat sheets.
Oh, man.
Oh.
Go ahead and take a look at how strong and mighty your new forms are.
Oh dear. Well, at least that didn't change. And your stats stay the same?
She can still
Ugh, what a thing.
So, Roland, as you look down at your right hand, you actually cannot open your hand. It is fused to your sword, which is a tiny wooden stick. You stand up and hear the clank of your joints. As you look down, you basically are a wooden action figure that a child would have. As you look across the way, you see a faceless creature with a heart. The engine in the center of Isaac's chest is embedded in the center of the marionette across from you. Although, Isaac, you have no features. As you look out, you are able to see through eye-like vision, but you lack dark vision at all, so you can see dimness. As you look at your hands, they are almost entirely locked in place. You can go like that. You can't bend your fingers. And you have joints at specific areas around your body, so you can do a squat. Euphemia, you are the most agile of the many, but you have flipper hands. And you have 2 bundles of hair, red locks of hair, which are not the same color as your normal red hair. Oh, I'm sorry, your normal hair. Your feet feel awkward and fat, to be honest, and they are stuffed with fluff.
They're soft and huggable.
You see
combat.
Teddy Bear Hero looms up mightily with his great fluffy bulk. He looks across the way. It sounds like he's talking with cotton balls in his mouth when he says, "What's going on?" He says. Juniper, as you stand, your first, rather unhesitant step puts a crack in your form.
June looks horrified.
You have the most digits of anyone.
June automatically attempts to revert her form.
You feel a hardened lock. Like there is a magical lock placed around you to keep you exactly as you are. As soon as you do that, you will suddenly hear a The sound is the laughter of a young teenage boy, maybe barely teenage. And you're going to see a form appear in the center of your cages, floating in the middle of them. You are in a small dungeon playset. You will see a blonde 12-year-old boy.
Oh, no.
Who has Tethundre, Mirabin's magical book that controls the entire tower.
Oh, there is horror written on June's face right now. Utter, absolute horror.
We're gonna die as toys.
It worked! It worked! Melon says. You're all my playthings, he says. And I captured the great Roland. I'm going to be the most famous guy in the entire world, he says. He's going to suddenly shapeshift into Mirabin. He says, I was so convincing as Mirabin that you took me to be him, even though I'm not, he says. And now that I control the tower, you're going to play my games.
The look of horror that was on June's face slowly morphs into a look of murderous rage.
You're a porcelain doll, so I think you're just smiling.
It's in her eyes, man. It's in the eyes. The soul is read through the eyes.
Says, you're a godmother, and you're the hero Roland, which means you're here on a quest, he says. Well, I have a quest for you. You have to escape my castle of dangers. He says it like, do. Says, there's tricks and traps and monsters waiting for you of the most terrible kind. You are going to witness one of the terrible kinds of monsters.
Oh, Lord.
Hey, Sarah, where do we put those?
It's on my desk behind the television.
I'm going to kill this kid one day.
Oh,
Yep.
get in line.
Yeah,
No,
but
me
isn't
first.
he...
You know what? I think this kid deserves a taste of polymorph.
Isn't he Mirvin's kid, though?
You know
I
what?
don't
He
care.
deserves a taste of polymorph. And
Yeah.
a very firm stomp.
Yes, but if you kill him...
It won't kill him. It'll just hurt him a bit.
What is that?
Oh, hang on.
You look at a makeshift stick creation made out of feathers, small pieces, little metal things like paper clips, and that have been morphed into claws. Says, "Get ready, this dungeon has bosses!" He says, "So, he kind of seems to think for a second, like he didn't quite consider what he was going to say at this point. Okay, go back to where you were," he says. That guy marches out of the room.
So you can see him.
Don't bring him over here. He's creepy.
What does his face look like?
Little, like, fingers.
It's the fingers. It's just...
Oh, his face is really scary.
Thank you.
Did you give a video of him?
I did.
Okay. He goes,
I do what I can.
"So, he seems to consider, we need a daring escape. That's the first thing," he says. "You have, 2 minutes to escape out of your cages before terrible monsters come down the stairs and get you. Starting, he looks around. Now!"
So he can't speak, right?
You can speak, yes.
Juniper, what do we do?
I'm gonna kill him.
Roland's gonna hit his cage with his sword and see if it does anything.
You hear clack, clack as your sword hits across the bars. Your sword is made of even worse grade, super light wood. So it's like you're fighting with a matchstick.
How light am I?
As light as you're actually probably one of the heaviest, besides maybe Roland.
Can I lift myself with my telekinesis-y stuff? Because apparently I'm
You
gonna...
don't have telekinesis.
What? No! No, this is horrible. I hate this kid. Murder!
As you raise your hand to use your telekinesis, you feel all of your innate fairy powers locked away deep inside the recesses of this porcelain skin.
Oh, the rage is almost so bad that her eyes are gonna start glowing soon, I swear.
How much space is between the bars in Yuffie's cage? Technically,
You can,
her
like-
body is
you can, like-
kind of squishy.
Your hand can get to like there
Yeah.
before like the fatness of your hand like blocks
It's actually
out the bars.
narrower than
It's
it is.
really
I just wanted
narrow.
you to be able to see through
Okay.
it. So,
Yuffie's immediately going to try to put her hand, like, through, around the other side and fiddle with the lock.
Is there
You
a lock?
cannot stick your hand through the bars. There is a little lock, but you're not actually sure it's real or not. It might be painted on the cage.
Hero, can you ram your body against the cage?
Yeah, Roland.
To knock it over?
Do that.
Hero goes, "I'm too..."
Giant?
"Oh yeah," he says. He's going to like put up his big, fluffy, stuffed arms and begins to like rage against the cage. He rolls his +1 strength mod.
Oh, man.
Oh,
I
yeah.
got a +2.
Can I cast guidance?
Just because you're stronger.
I have a -5.
Oh, wow.
Do you have,
have a
you have your
-3.
cantrips?
Yeah.
Okay. You cast guidance on him. Okay. He goes, "Ah!" And it, like, lightly shakes the cage. He goes, "Why is it so heavy?"
Throw yourself against it, she'll yell. See if...
He bounces and goes boop, 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 and lands on his tush on the floor.
Can I reach the top of the cage?
Your sword can, but your hand can't.
My hand.
You have to
can't.
jump.
Okay. He's gonna try to jump and put his sword through, and then hook onto it. On the
Okay.
other side.
Give me an athletics check, please.
Okay.
I'm just going to cast guidance on everybody.
Okay.
What would athletics check be?
Yours.
Oh, wait, no, here we go.
Yeah, you
It's
have-
plus 2. There we go. Fucking terrible. Oh my god, it's so bad. Seriously awful. He busts his ass so hard. I'm not even going to tell you what it was.
Alright.
It
So,
was so bad. I wiped out.
Roland, you go, and you literally jump like a millimeter off the ground.
Oh, this is
Your
awful.
knees don't bend. You're locked in action pose. So you can kind of like, both your legs sort of just hop.
I can't move!
Can I spot any toys outside of our cages?
No, only what basically is like resin walls made out of stone, quote unquote.
Isaac, can you animate your cage to open?
So I was going to ask if there's even an opening door on the cages.
So you look and you see that there's no lock. It's 2 holes have been drilled in the door of the cage, and there's been a matchstick stuck through the hole to hold the door flush with the wall of the cage.
Really?
So that
Yes.
just keeps it from...
Yeah, like you can hit the front door and it doesn't open.
But
Fire.
are there holes in it to get to it if you could? I mean, clearly you can't take it out.
Like
but,
holes all the way through, you mean?
I mean, could you technically cut it if you could get to it?
Yes.
June's gonna cast Prestidigitation and summon a serrated saw, a small handheld one.
Hero's gonna say, Juniper, can you wish us out of this?
I have the innate sense.
Yes, you do. You feel basically like a powerful containment cage has been placed on all of your powers.
At this moment, I don't believe I can. She looks so upset at this.
Oh,
She's going to
crap.
very carefully saw. She created a cushion on the end so that it doesn't hurt her, and she's very carefully doing this number.
Okay. Roll a sleight of hand check.
Oh, this will be hilarious.
Guidance.
Thank you.
Just guidance it. Guidance it.
You know what?
Oh, inspiration.
I feel like this is important.
Meanwhile, I'd like to try and animate the matchstick to slowly start wiggling its way out of the slots.
Okay, that's actually kind of working.
Ooh.
The matchstick rolls athletics.
19.
Oh, wow.
Jennifer, you cut your way through the bars, through the matchstick, and your door swings open. Isaac, maybe another, 10 seconds here? It's been about a minute. Maybe another 10 seconds, it might wiggle its way out.
She's going to walk over and create another of the saws and hand it to you first.
As soon as you get out of
Do
your
I have
cage...
fingers?
If your hands are fused to your weapon.
Both of them
Yeah,
are?
only one of them. No, your shield is fused to this part of your arm.
So I can
And
do
you can go like
Okay.
this with this
Okay.
hand, but this hand can't open.
Okay, cool.
All right. As you escape, we will go ahead and end the session there for the time being, leaving us to figure out what happens next time to our heroes in their mini dungeon of death.
I can't believe you guys did this.
Oh my gosh.
All right. And we will close there for the time being, heroes. Thank you for joining us. We will see you guys next time. And do try this at home, like and subscribe for us if you would.